And that, they want it that way. And actually, we had someone at a forum recently, down at the town hall, we had someone ask, hey, what are you going to do to fix the tracking system? And she said, well, it's illegal for me to track it because these are private businesses. I can't force them to give me data. That is wrong. If you are giving a $5,000 voucher to a private business, you can require them to do whatever you want if they're going to accept it. If they're willing to take your money, you can say, well, in exchange for this money, you have to give us this data. And the other thing that bothers me is the same people at the legislature who for years have been saying, well, gosh, we got to hold our public schools accountable. We need accountability for the teachers, and we need accountability for the school districts and the administrators. Yet they'll give money to a private school with no accountability. We have no idea what student it's going to. We don't know if that student's doing better or worse. We're giving the same amount of money to the private schools we give to the public school, but we know nothing about how that money's being spent, how much of it's going into the pocket of the for-profit owner, how much of it's actually being spent on the kids' education, and what the outcomes are. We know nothing about how that's being done. And I'll tell you, as superintendent, I will change that. We're going to have some accountability when it comes to our public taxpayer dollars being spent at for-profit private institutions. And I'll tell you one other thing. That bill that made it so anybody with a pulse can teach, I will not issue those certifications as superintendent, and the legislature can sue me and take me to court and try and argue in front of a judge that anybody with a pulse should be able to teach our kids. I'm not giving out those certificates. Thank you everybody for your time today. I can't, oh yeah, do you have one more?
I'm wondering about in terms of accountability. What I've been watching happen for 30 years is the push for accountability and the testing. You know, we've gone from Ames and almost Common Core, and now it's ASMER. Is so inefficient and not really grounded in anything. And I think about the amount of money that's been spent generating all these tests, and wonder how would you address that as superintendent? Are you in agreement with the ASMER type testing?
So those of us who are educators, we've been through this many times, right? We've seen many tests come down the pipe. We've seen many changes. The problem isn't the standards or what test it is, or even necessarily how often it's done. The problem is the lack of support from the State Department of Education when it comes to making that transition, when it comes to providing professional development, when it comes to paying teacher stipends if they have to come in over the summer and redesign their entire curriculum. And we just tell them, oh, no, it's part of your job. You got to come in unpaid and do that. We need a department that's actually going to work with us through those transitions. And let me just tell you one thing about Easy Merit. Ames was awful. I taught a class called Ames Math. Don't tell me that they don't make teachers teach the test. I taught a class called Ames Math. The purpose of the class was to teach students how to pass the test. Students who were already doing poorly to pass the test. Ames, the biggest problem in Ames, we're the only state that did it. So when our schools are underfunded and we now want to compare our state to other states that have more funding, we couldn't. We have no way to compare. The benefit of AZ Merit, which at its core is Common Core, the standards are Common Core, AZ Merit is the test, and we don't call it Common Core now, we call it the Arizona College and Career Readiness Standards, because our governor didn't want to call it Common Core, so she changed the name before she left office. The benefit, the good thing about AZ Merit is it is benchmarked against the Common Core standards, which are offered in nearly every state now. It'll at least allow us to compare state to state how our students are doing. And so, I like a test that's at least benchmarked to other states so we can compare state to state. What I don't like is when they change the standards every few years, they change the tests every few years, they provide us with no resources to go through that transition. You know, I get sick and tired of people saying, we gotta run schools like a business, right? No. Well, in a business, if you're gonna change the equipment that your employees are using, you're gonna pay them to come in and do some training, right? You're gonna actually, on the clock, you're gonna have them come in and do training. You're gonna pay them to retrain. If you were running schools like a business, do you think when you have a shortage of people in a certain field, do you think lowering their salaries is going to attract or retain more people? No, but that's what we've done in the last 15 years. The median teacher salary has gone down, not up. We have $1.1 billion less in our school system today than we did 9 years ago. If we were running schools like a business, you know, if math, our students don't do well in math, what do you do in a business when one of your departments or divisions isn't doing well? And you tried everything you can to get it to work. Business owners in the room, what would you do? You close it. You shut it down and you focus on your profitable areas, right? We can't shut down our math department.
Right.
We can't just close all the schools in Mojave County because they're not performing at the level the state wants them to perform at, right? So if we're gonna treat schools like a business, right? Let's maybe follow some of those other things and not just the ones that the folks in the legislature pick and choose and say that we need to operate like a business. And the biggest thing is if you're going to change your standards, you have to invest in training to make that transition. I as an educator, I was perfectly willing to change standards when they made us do that. But to do it on my own time or to have to come into summer without pay was demeaning. It is demeaning to have to do that, to be required to do that, and to know that I'm getting paid nothing to do it. So that's my opinion on it. Listen, everybody.
So you're in favor of the ASMER?
I'm in favor of standards that are benchmarked nationally. Now, that's the standards right now that are used nationally. And Common Core is the controversial piece. Let me tell you about just one thing about Common Core, because Diane Douglas in her last campaign, that was what she campaigned on. Common Core is bad. And she convinced a lot of people around the state that Common Core is real bad. Now, she thinks it's a UN conspiracy to take over America. It's the tinfoil hat folks that are saying this. The biggest complaint about Common Core is Common Core math. As a math teacher, let me just tell you one quick thing about Common Core math. The kids come home and they ask their parents for help, and the parents are like, I have no idea what this is. I've never seen math like this before. And it's unnerving to adults when we see that. But let me just have you do a quick math problem. And everyone's eyes are glazing over now because the math teacher's going to make you do a math problem. It's an easy one. Ready? 300 minus 1. Think about how you were taught in school how to do that. You can remember back, how were you taught in school how to do 300 minus 1? You got to borrow from the 3, you got to move 10 over, and then borrow from that, and then move that over. That takes you quite a bit of time to do a very easy math problem. What Common Core does is it says you count down 1 from 300, right? Now on paper, it looks complicated because those of us who didn't learn Common Core math when we were kids, it doesn't look familiar, right? What Common Core math does is it teaches kids to do math the way adults do math, right? It doesn't look like it on paper because it's not the way we were trained, but as an adult, you don't do 300 minus 1 the way you were taught in school. You don't do 300 minus 20 the way you were taught in school, right? Common Core teaches you how to do the kind of math in your head that people should be able to do in their head. And when it's written on paper, it looks weird. But the fact is, it's benchmarked nationally. If we're going to be able to compare state to state, then we have to have the Common Core standards to be able to compare. Again, thank you everybody for your time. I can't get my message out alone. I'll be here as often as I can. This is my second time in Kingman in a month.
Yeah.
I'll be back. But I need you to amplify that. I need you to continue to amplify that from now until next November if you're willing. Thank you for your